Hey everybody, in this video or screencast rather, I want to talk about Flash and what may be in store for Flash going forward because of the recent onslaught of iOS devices. I'm talking iPads and iPhones, of course, and of course the new prominence of HTML5 and CSS3 in the video embed tag and so forth. So yeah, I'm Steph Mishuk with Killer Sites. There I am here. So anyway, so let's look at the couple big issues. I just have some notes here. Now, at this time, Flash does not look terribly good going forward, and this is from a purely business perspective, from a practical point of view, not from a technological point of view. I think Flash has a lot of things going for it, and it can still do a lot of stuff that's pretty cool. But I think a lot of the uses found in Flash, namely video and the interactivity in the pages that used to be very difficult before, are now made very easy with JavaScript packages like jQuery. And here's the relevant URL, although you can just Google that, of course. And soon to come, or coming out now rather, is HTML5 and CSS3, which adds a whole bunch of new capabilities into the mix. Now, so I believe Safari, Chrome, and Firefox, would imagine, I haven't checked with the recent ones, support these technologies, and I'm sure soon Internet Explorer will too. What's important is that the big companies, the big players like Google, are behind full force HTML5 and CSS3, and so is Apple, which is huge. Apple, in fact, is killing Flash, if you've probably heard, on their iOS devices because it doesn't run very well on any Mac-based operating system. iOS is really just a Mac-based operating system. iOS is again the operating system for iPhones and iPads, and these things are pretty dominant out there. So if you have a platform, whether it be Windows or Mac or iOS or something, if you have a platform where it does not support, a powerful platform rather, that has a significant market share, and it doesn't support a particular technology on the web, experience and history teaches us that that technology becomes marginalized because nobody will want to build websites that prevents a significant number of people from seeing the content. So, would you, if you had an online store, would you build it with Flash if you knew that everybody on iOS, iPad users, iPhone users, and who knows who else weren't able to shop on your store? You wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Whereas jQuery, HTML5, CSS3, these things, because they're all based on open standards, these technologies are going to be, for sure, you're going to find these things supported across all the devices, whether it be laptops, Windows, or Mac, and whether it be Android phones or iPhones. So I'm a little worried about Flash in terms of the business application. So I would just take that into consideration if you're trying to decide whether or not to jump into Flash. I would advise at this time, from a financial point of view, you're better off to look at jQuery, HTML5, and CSS3. Who knows what the future will bring? Maybe Android, which does support Flash, will sweep the earth, and iOS will become a thing of the past. Nobody will buy iPads, nobody will buy iPhones. But I bet even if iOS can hold 10–20% of the market, I have a feeling that people are going to be shying away from Flash. I would, as a company owner, if I had a choice between developing a certain type of effect on a website using jQuery and HTML5 and CSS3 versus Flash, I'd probably go with the former, jQuery and so on, because I know that this is going to be supported across the board within the next couple of years. And I've doing this particular screencast in what day is it? It's 2011, so, or mid 2011. So keep that in mind. What should I point out? So if you don't know about jQuery, I would just go to jQuery.com, take a look at that. We also have training videos on that kind of stuff, not to sell you on it. jQuery right here. jQuery is just a JavaScript package that makes it really easy for you to create all kinds of really cool special effects that, again, previously you needed Flash to do this, but these days you don't. Another reference is I talk about it a little bit on my blog, killersites.com. Just do a search for Android Galaxy tab, and I talk about the effects of the popularity of these tablets and how they're affecting the way web designers and web programmers, where they should focus their attentions in terms of the technology. You see, as a professional web developer or web designer, actually, you know what, was this categorize you as, or us as web professionals? One of the most important things you got to do is figure out where the technology is going, what the popular thing is. If you stay stuck in old technologies, you're going to find yourself in a bad position, potentially financially. You're going to need to adapt and get into the new stuff. And in fact, if you can get into it at the right time, that usually means earlier rather than later, you could take advantage of the growth in that technology. So for instance, back in my day, at one point, Java started gaining momentum. And if you got into Java early on, it was very, very lucrative financially as a developer, as a programmer, whether it be freelance or working for somebody else. Whereas if you were stuck in an old language like COBOL or something, you were, or VB, Visual Basic, you would have a harder and harder time finding work. Whether it be working for somebody or as a contractor. So it's always important to look ahead to see where the trends are, and that way you can get a jump on things and make the big money while you can. You see, one of my things, being an entrepreneur for 20 years, as well as a nerd developer and so on, I always pay attention to how the technologies that I look into, how they affect my ability to make a living. Because ultimately, that's, I think the majority of us, though we may enjoy what we do, we're here to make money. Otherwise, I think a lot of us would be, would go fishing or play video games or something. That's it. I'm Steph Mischuk. I hope you found this video somewhat useful. And until next time.